Hi, this is Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. So, today I want to talk about best ways to use AI and social media in your executive job search. And my subtitle to this video is, and one thing to not do with these with these tools. Because, clearly all over LinkedIn and everywhere on the internet in some way or another, so many online media publications are talking about, how to use social media, how to use AI, how to use, all different kinds of tools in your job search. And I'm all for it, right? I'm all for tools that make life easier, that make the job search more effective. I'm all for it. But, over the last few weeks, what inspired me to do this video is because I've been talking to job seekers and, who's using AI to optimize their LinkedIn profile, or to, who's using certain resume technologies to, ATS scanning technologies to optimize their resume for the best, possible outcome, or, people using automation to reach out to people. And again, all of it's great, right? All of it's great. But then I ask a question. This is my question when people tell me they're doing all these great things and using all these great tools, but they still might be struggling in their job search. And even if they're not struggling, but maybe they're getting interviews and it's not the right interviews, or they're not closing. And my next question is, so how many conversations a week are you having? And those conversations can be actual interviews. They can be exploratory interviews, informational interviews, however you want to call them. They can just be simply networking conversations, people you know, people you don't know, people who reached out to you, people you reached out to. And typically when I ask well, how many conversations with people are you having? That's when people stutter, they stumble, they, waffle a little bit in answering me. And I want to be super clear. I'm very, very liberal on how I define a conversation. A conversation doesn't always have to be on the phone. It can obviously be Zoom conversations, Teams conversations, it can be a LinkedIn message or an X message, or any other, social media platform messaging back and forth kind of conversation. It can be a Slack or Discord conversation, WhatsApp conversation, FaceTime. I mean, you name it, use it. If there's a back and forth element of some kind, more than 2 times, you reach out, they reach out, you reach out again, to me is a bare minimum. I count that as a conversation, so I'm very, very liberal on how I define a conversation. And the question, the answer I typically get are not that many, maybe about 5. So what happens is we get so caught up in using the tool, and we go down this rabbit hole of perfecting the tool usage, the technology usage, the AI prompting, whatever it is, right? And we forget that the ultimate goal of using these tools is to just simply talk to people. A better way to talk to more people. That's ultimately what this has to come down to, because otherwise you're wasting your time. And that's including hiring experts like me. When we are, filtering and doing prospect calls with clients, we're making sure that that person wants to use our information, use the documents we're going to create for them, so they can then go have more conversations with people. If ultimately somebody's looking for the resume to be a magic elixir, so everyone's going to come to them, or the profile is going to be a magic elixir and everyone's going to come to them, or if they keyword optimize a certain way on a certain social media platform that everybody's going to come to them, honestly, I don't really want that person hiring us. I don't even want that person to buy my book because they're going to be disappointed. Don't get me wrong, documents have to be awesome. Your notes going out to people have to be awesome. Obviously all that stuff has to be up to par, and I'm 100% certain you're going to get there with us. And as well as many other experts out there. But even the best resume, if it is sitting dormant in your inbox, or on your computer, or in your cloud, waiting for people to call you so you can send it, it's not going to do anything, right? It's not going to do anything. So it's like being dressed up for the prom and not going, right? So you have to talk to people, ultimately talking to people. And I say a minimum of 10 to 20 times a week related to networking or your job search. And that may sound like a high number, but if you're not working, frankly, that number should be your minimum. And I say 10 to 20, with the emphasis on the 10, because I get it. If you're working, it's hard to do that, but if you shoot for 10 and you fail, I should put both of them up, fail and have 4 conversations, like fail miserably and have 4 conversations, right? You still had 4 conversations. 4 is better than 0, right? So that's the key here, is to have conversations. Even the outreaches that don't get a response are pings on that other person's radar that you reached out. And that also means something. And why that also means something, here's the proof. You go on any social media channel that you might be on, right? Obviously, we're here on LinkedIn or YouTube, but if Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, whatever it is, right? You scroll and you probably feel somewhat of an intimate, superficial relationship with someone just by looking at their posts and their reels and their updates. And you've never talked to them, or you haven't talked to them in 10 years, right? Or you last talked to them in high school, X amount of years ago, but where their kids are, their grandkids are, what trip they went on, what they had for dinner, right? So my point is that email or messaging saying, hey, I'm looking to chat. Hey, I'm up to this, or hey, I'm interested in seeing what you're doing, or, saw that you posted a great article, would love to chat about it. And they don't respond. They still see that you pinged them. They might still see what you're posting, on LinkedIn or Facebook or, TikTok or wherever else you're doing it. Again, all professionally appropriate. So my point is that even outreaches that don't get answered matter. Everything ultimately leads to a conversation. But if you reach out to 10 people in a week and you have 2 conversations, don't worry about the other 8, focus on the 2 and go find another 10 the next week. Right? So ultimately, all these tools need to lead to you talking to people. And if you are not talking to people, you can have the best tool in your toolbox. You can have a litany of the best tools in your toolbox, and it's not going to matter. So with that said, if you are interested in getting some, cost-effective guidance for all the phases of a job search, resume, profile, networking, interviewing, comp negotiation, and your mindset, right? Your mindset, your job landing mindset, which is really almost everything, right? And helps you want to reach out to people and have conversations. Look at my Get Hired Fast bundle. You can go to gethiredfastbundle.com, and I offer all the ebooks, resume templates, and training videos that I've created over the years in one bundle to help you with all aspects of the job search in a cost-effective way. So just a little plug there. Something's got to pay for these videos. And if you know of someone who might benefit from this video, I'm going to ask you to share it. If you like it and have any other, comments or things you can add to this, I would love for you to comment below or send me a message. You can, DM me here. You can message me or you can email me, all the ways, right? Or email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I'm going to ask you to subscribe so you do not miss next week's video. And and if you like the video, just like it. That's the simple thing, right? That's a simple thing to do. But anyway, thank you so much for being with me here today. And I look forward to you making progress, keeping me posted, and know that I'm always here in your corner. Take good care.